Hello, good morning. I am Kris Bolanos, and I am continuing with our online discussion on reimagining the kingdom, the second part. And the theme for this part is justice is restored on earth. Let us start with Isaiah 11:4. But with righteousness he shall judge the poor, and decide with equity for the meek of the earth. And he shall strike the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips he shall kill the wicked. Uh, this verse is referring to the return of Messiah and the restoration of justice and righteousness on earth. And all of these things will take place here on earth as well. And this is continuous with what we have discussed in the first part of our discussion. This is probably one of my favorite images of the second coming of Messiah Yeshua, riding on a white horse. He's one of my favorite descriptions of him, that he is riding on the clouds, as it is expressed in a song. A more accurate description perhaps will be that he will be riding on the horse, but his garments will be uh, dipped in blood, the blood of his enemies, because he will be slaying his enemies when he comes back. And then he means business. In other words, he's coming back as a righteous judge, and he will judge his enemies and he will save his people. As you can see, he will not be coming alone. He will be coming back with the host of angels. And of course, in his coming back, as it was discussed in the previous video, uh, or perhaps when you go back to Thessalonians, among other verses, uh, he will be assembling us in the sky, only to go back on earth, isn't it? With the host of angels. Micah 4:6 states, "In that day, says the Lord, will I assemble her that halts, and I will gather her that is driven out, and her that I have afflicted." Probably referencing Israel and the restoration of Israel as well. The meek also shall increase their joy in the Lord, and the poor among men shall rejoice in the Holy One of Israel. Isaiah 29:19. And the Lord will impose justice upon the earth, and the poor ones will rejoice, because the righteous judge has come. And this will all take place on earth as well. Isaiah 35:6. Then shall the lame man live as an hart, and the tongue of the dumb sing, for in the wilderness shall waters break out. I'm quite familiar with the whole chapter on this, Isaiah 35, and um, one of the main features of this chapter is the restoration of the land in terms of agricultural abundance. And probably we have a partial fulfillment of this prophecy, because in the Negev region of the deserts of Israel, there are date trees that you can see at present. They're growing in abundance. Also in the Arava desert, they already have agricultural abundance in the land, and it was quite a miracle, because the saline soil and the heat in the desert, under normal circumstances, it will not allow for vegetation uh, to exist. But because perhaps of human efforts and of course divine intervention, the saline soil allowed for them to grow big tomatoes, even strawberries in the desert, isn't it? So it is quite a miracle. And perhaps that's a partial fulfillment of what was said in Isaiah 35. In Psalm 72:13, he said, "He shall spare the poor and the needy and shall save the souls of the needy." Again, referring back to the poor, and the poor will rejoice once the Lord comes. Isaiah 2:11 says, "The lofty looks of man shall be humbled, and the haughtiness of men shall be bowed down." Of course, he will destroy his enemies as well, apart from pulling down the proud and raising up those who humble themselves before God. The heaven is my throne and the earth is my footstool. And isn't this the idea behind Isaiah 66:1? And this will only show, perhaps, one of the best ways of looking at it. If the earth is his footstool, then it is an extension of his sovereignty, which comes from heaven, but it extends on earth, isn't it? So the earth is the Lord's. Of course, we will become appointed judges and rulers of the earth, but he is ruler over all of us. But the main thing to know is that his kingdom will extend on the earth and his sovereignty will be upon the earth as well. So the earth is his. His name, of course, is what is there on the screen. His name is Yeshua, the righteous judge, the coming one who is coming back on earth as a righteous judge. And even this verse in Psalm 110, it describes his name, which is salvation. The Lord said to my Lord, "Sit at my right hand till I make your enemies your footstool." And this will be just a short presentation, and we would like to get back on track after a long period of inactivity, perhaps because I also got busy with my teaching in the university. So I also relocated once more in a location where I probably could record much better audio and video for all of us. So that will be all for today. Shalom and thank you for listening.